opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. Got a great show for you today, and it starts with a live guest, Coach Oleski from Garrettsville Garfield boys basketball. We let him join us. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me, too.
You got it. We're so excited for basketball season. I'm sure you are too. Let's talk about kind of what you've seen so far from your team. I know football just got off, so you've probably been able to get some of those guys back, you know, here in the preseason, in the summer and things like that. What are you seeing already from your team that you like so far?
I'm loving their energy and their enthusiasm and their effort right now. As you said, we kind of had to start the season kind of half team. Unfortunately, the football team lost last weekend, and we wanted to give those kids some time off in the process too, because they've been going hard since like June 1st. So the kids that we've had in the gym, the effort's been great, the energy's been great, the enthusiasm's been great, and then slowly this week, the rest of the kids are starting to trickle in, and they're hitting the ground running as they're coming in. So once we're finally full squad, which is going to be tomorrow, which is Friday. It's going to be really exciting. It's been exciting already, but to get everybody in the gym at once, it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to continue to build off what we've done the first 2 weeks of practice.
We have a lot of coaches that have football players, and obviously, you know, you're no different. But one of the things we've never asked them, which I'm interested in, is what's it like to see them transition from one sport to the other, and how do you get them back in like basketball mode? Does it take a lot, or do they come right into the gym ready to switch that mindset into basketball?
For us, there's kind of many answers I can give that question. I love the fact I encourage multi-sport participation. They should be playing, you know, as many sports as they can in high school, get those experiences. So first and foremost, I'm glad they're doing all those things, and I turn it into a positive because they're getting experiences that's going to last them the rest of their life. They're getting experience. Actually, in a weird way, it's going to help us in basketball. You know, they're playing in high pressure situations with in front of big crowds. And, you know, that experience helps. With that being said, you know, they come in shape, but at the same time, it's a different kind of shape. And I played football. I love football. I'm a football guy, but basketball shape is different than football shape. And that's not an insult on either sport. And baseball shapes and track shapes, different shape than basketball shape. And it just is what it is. But our kids come in every year, no matter when they arrive, they work hard, and we're working hard as coaches to get them into that basketball shape. Some kids get there quicker than others. Some kids get there a little later, but they get there. But again, different muscles are being used. There's different actions required, and that's just part of the beast in high school sports. And it's a good thing to deal with because, again, I love the fact that they're participating in many sports. And like I said, they all need to do it because they're getting experiences that are going to last them and memories that are going to last them a lifetime. But again, there's some things that come down, like there's different timings. There's different things that, you know, just different sports entail, but it's all part of the process, and it's all a positive.
Coach, let's go over your roster, have kind of a meet the team segment through the players that are going to be, you know, contributing to your squad this year.
We got a lot we're expecting on. We were young last year. We played a lot of sophomores and some seniors last year. So obviously our seniors we missed. There was 4 of them. They've moved on. They'll be missed greatly. They had some great impact on our team. And this year, right now, we have 2 seniors, which we're counting on. We have a forward, Eric Geddes, great defender, great team player. We got Vincent Jukic coming back. He's kind of a bull down low. I kind of describe him. He's got a low center of gravity who moves some bodies. And then we got our junior class who played heavy minutes as sophomores last year. Our leading scorer last year was Preston Gideons. He's going to be a junior this year. He's been dynamite to start the season. We have someone like Aiden Hill, who is returning for us. He started last year. He's just a tremendous all-around player who impacts the game in many ways, ball handling, passing, defending, rebounding, hitting shots. Same with Nick Edick. He's a guy whose value cannot be measured in the box score because of everything he does, the intangibles, and we're looking for him to score a little bit more. And then I'm a huge fan of Cade Rock. He's a big player down low, long, lanky. He alters shots defensively. He rebounds. He scores down low. He does the right things. He sets screens. We got guys like Tyler Lutz helping us out. Some newcomers too. We're looking at a lot of kids to help contribute to us this year, and that's the cool thing about it. We have some depth that we're hoping on. The guy I didn't mention either, Damian Torville, just an energetic, happy kid that loves to be there. He's going to help us out this year. But that's the cool thing. We got some depth. There's some names I didn't mention that we're still, we're trying to figure some things out as coaches, but we're hopeful that our depth allows us to, maybe do some different lineups from time to time, maybe dictate some matchups, maybe react to some matchups. But it's all exciting. It's all part of our process.
That depth is going to be really important because you have a tough schedule.
Yes.
And while we talk about it, we'll start with the conference, the MVAC. What do you expect out of the MVAC this year, and where do you kind of see yourselves shaking into it?
Well, I said it in a different interview. Our league is good, and all of these teams have multiple quality, talented players, and all of these teams they have great head coaches and they have great coaching staffs. And I could sit here and kind of brag and talk up every single team, and it's justified. It is a good league with great coaches, and there are no off nights in our league. And I think that makes it for an exciting season, because to sit here and say, oh, I think this team is going to be number one, I could say that for every team. And as us individually, I hope we're right there towards the end. With our kids' work ethic and our kids' enthusiasm and the way our kids are excited for the season, we're hopeful we are one of those teams at the end. But again, all of them, they are so quality and well coached with quality coaches and talented players. It's exciting. It is a good basketball league.
Yeah, I agree with you. Coaches galore in the MVAC. What's it like to be a part of a coach's room in the conference that you just look around and you see legend, great coach? I mean, what's that like for you?
It's cool. I'm in a weird part. This is my 13th year of coaching. And when I was younger, you see some coaches oh man, that's cool to see, and even still 13 years later, you're seeing some coaches in our league with just the resumes they have and all they've accomplished. And it is awesome. And there's some guys that speak up, and all of them do, to tell you the truth. When they speak up in our meetings, I'm listening, I'm still wanting to learn and, pick off of them. And, to hear them, the way they, make adjustments in games and the way, some of the things they shout out, I'm listening. I want to take some things off them and, make myself better. And I'd be dumb not to, because they're all so good. And like I said, every single one of them have a resume that is just amazing. And that's awesome. That's a part of our league, and that's what makes it so special.
If the league wasn't tough enough, you also test yourself outside of the conference. Who are some teams non-conference wise you're excited to go up against?
Oh, we got another MVAC member. Our second game of the season is against Waterloo, and they came on last year very strong. They could just play a tough, hard-nosed style. I'm close with those coaches down there. I respect them immensely. We play someone like Ravenna, who was just loaded and won their league last year. We open with a non-conference team in Rootstown. Those are hardworking, tough kids that play basketball the right way. It's exciting. And then later in the season, we play a team like Bristol, who I have immense respect for Coach Giese and what he does. Wyndham, both, they're always quality for the last 40 years. I mean, just there's no easy nights for us this year. And that's the way you want it to be. You want to challenge our kids. You want to, make us better in the process. Nothing should be easy, and ours is not going to be easy.
Hearing a lot of Portage County schools. So I'm wondering, I know you don't get anything for it. There's no county championship, but do you like, being able to run your county if you're lucky enough to do that and go beat those teams in Portage County? Do you take some pride in being able to say hey, we played almost everybody in Portage County. We we beat you guys?
I kind of take it game by game. I don't clump them together and say, oh, we handled Portage County in this way. And I don't think I ever would either. I kind of take game by game. If we win, great. If our kids get better and work better, and we don't finish on top, it kind of is what it is. And I'm going to use that as a learning experience to make our team better. But I'm going to be honest, I don't clump the Portage County's teams together and say we have to get this group or we have to get this cluster just because it's Portage County. I want to perform well and win every game. I know it's not realistic. But, it is nice. Like, there are some old school natural rivalries that we're going to play in the non-league, and that's exciting for the kids. That's exciting for the communities. And I know that's probably not the answer you want, but
no, it's all good, Coach. It's just it's fun because I think college is exclusive to this, where colleges get so amped up about anyone in their state, whether it's in their conference or not. It's like we have to run this state. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
So it's fun. I wanted to see if that translated into high school at all. Like, you don't have a Portage County league really, but is it nice to beat teams in your county? You never know.
Sure,
Coach, I want you to give the time for your staff too, because we know that your staff does a lot. You get the interviews, but the staff is behind you doing a lot of work. So I want you to take the time to highlight your staff and tell them what they bring to the program.
They bring a ton. I'm so incredibly lucky to have two assistants. As I'm answering this question, I'm like, man, who do I want to say first? Because I look at it like our staff. Like, I have the title head coach, but sometimes I feel like we are a three-headed coach because both of my assistants, Coach Bissler, Tommy Bissler, who played for me, he was a member of the 2017 district championship team, and Matt Hill, who comes from a tremendous basketball background. Like, we work so well together. And like, they're involved in every decision that I make. And, I know I'm the head coach and all the decisions go to me, but everything literally is a joint decision. And Matt Hill and Tommy Bissler are so instrumental to everything we do. I am so lucky to have them because they do so much work behind the scenes. I always tell, the public sees about 10 to 15% of what coaches really do. And those guys behind the scenes and on game days, on Tuesdays and Fridays, like, they are just so involved in everything from, game planning, scouting reports, practice planning, getting our equipment ready, helping out set up, just literally everything we do as a team. Tommy and Matt have their fingerprints on, along with mine. And like, I want to say it right now, like, our kids are lucky to have those two. I am very lucky to have those two. And I appreciate you asking me that question because they're tremendous to our program. And I want them to know that. I want our kids to know that.
I love seeing former players come back to the coaching staff. What's that mean for you, that not only did you coach them, but then they admired you so much, or they admired the program so much, they want to come back and feed into it?
Well, it's kind of neat because, I know you're speaking specifically to Tommy right now. Like, he knows our system. He knows what it was like to, play for me. So he can kind of relate to the kids in that regard. But again, he comes because a lot of stuff he learned, he is kind of got from me. So he knows what to expect from the practices. He knows what to expect from, my demeanor or my expectations. And I'd be lying if I said I have not learned from Tommy either. Tommy does a great job researching on his own. He has brought many things to the table, many things to this team that has helped us. And it's cool. We have another one down in the middle school program this year, Zach Smith. He graduated a year after Tommy. He was also a starter on that district championship team, and he's a part of the program. So it's kind of cool because they know our expectations. And then again, I'd be remiss again. I got to mention Matt too. He's just as important. Like, he brings new things. He brings that pedigree. I'm learning from him too. So it is cool though, because that's what you want. Like, that establishes the program, that establishes the unity you want. And it's cool. It is very, very cool.
Coach, our final question for you today. We've been asking every coach this. It's kind of our theme of these season previews. It goes back to the love of the game of basketball, right? We love it because we broadcast it. You love it because you coach it. Your players love it because they put the time into it to play it. When did the love of the sport come up to you? When were some of your memories where you found yourself falling in love with the game?
Oh, man, I don't know if I have enough time to answer that question because I fell in love with basketball. I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and my parents got me a video called The Pistol, The Birth of a Legend. And I think it was a straight-to-video kind of thing. And if you guys haven't seen it, please watch it. It was a kind of a fictionalized version of Pete Maravich growing up. And that was the video that caused me to fall in love with basketball. Like, I would watch that video in the summer every morning 2 times. I would go out in my driveway and try to emulate the things he was doing in that video. And Pete Maravich, to this day, along with Michael Jordan, are my favorite basketball players of all time. But that no doubt was it. Now, I was lucky too. That also coincided with an era of where I went to school. The high school basketball was very, very good, and it still is there and all over. But like there were some big time players that ended up going to Akron from that team. So it was very cool to watch that video, fall in love with basketball, and then go watch these kids that you looked up to as, fourth, fifth, sixth graders. But I love that question because, again, I could talk about a few more things. But I pinpointed to that movie, The Pistol, The Birth of a Legend. And if you're watching this and you haven't seen it, watch it. Like, I bought it off Amazon for the DVD because I watched that VHS so much that the tape went bad. So I had to have that in my repertoire. But I would love to talk more about that movie and more about that player, but that is it. You can see me kind of getting excited and enthusiasm I bring about that. I think my dad bought that for me. So that's what it is. Because my dad's more of a football guy. So I can honestly, my dad won't get offended if he hears this. Like, I think my dad's more of a football guy. His dad was more of a baseball guy. And it was that video.
Some of your players are going to not even know what a VHS is. So we love watching the fact that you wore it out so much that it actually ruined the tape, because that was a real struggle for our VHS generation.
Yeah.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck. We'll be out there covering you guys, and we can't wait to talk to you in real soon.
Well, I appreciate this, and thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it, and good luck to you.
Coach Oleski from Garfield Boys Basketball, we thank him for his time, and we pop right over to another coach giving us his time. It is the head coach of the Cardinal Mooney girls basketball team, Dom Diorio, good friend of the show. Coach, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're ready for basketball. It's getting closer and closer and closer.
Absolutely. We're excited.
Coach, let's talk about your team a little bit. You've had them for a little bit now. You had them in the summer, obviously, as well. What are you seeing so far from your players that you're really enjoying?
They're coming together as a team, and I can't say I can say that in the past years as much this year. I think we've talked about it and had a focus on it, and we've got to come together more as a team and play together as a team, and I think that's been our focus, and hopefully it's paying off here.
When you think about some of the things that you want to see in the last week, I should say, before the season starts, what's on your coach's checklist in this last week or so of preseason?
I don't think we have enough time. No, I mean, honestly, we're trying to simplify things and get better at the basics. We got to be good fundamentally, starting on the defensive end. And I think if we can do that and get sound on the defensive end, and we're getting there, each practice, each scrimmage helps, but we've got to rely on that and then work our way, towards the offensive end once we're sound on the defensive end.
Let's have a kind of meet the team segment where you go through your roster, you shout out the names, and let us know who are going to be big contributors of Mooney basketball this year.
So we have a good mix as far as older girls, younger girls. We only have 2 seniors, so Sophia Diorio and Dana Hughes. We have a good mix in the middle, the juniors and sophomores. We have 3 returning starters. 2 of them are juniors, and Samantha Rotuno and Talisha Huff, and then some of the other juniors that'll be fighting for starting and playing time is Delaney Olish, Zanaya Ray Wright. I'm trying to think of Chakaya Howe. And then in the sophomore class, Katie Pregabon got a lot of playing time last year. She'll be in that mix. Frankie Cassis, Sophia Rotuno. We have one transfer. Yaya, she came over from East, and then Christina Coulias, she was with us last year on the JV squad. She'll be looking to get some time in the varsity possibly. And then we have a nice freshman class. We have 4 girls, and one Julia Diorio, Reagan Savitt, Ava Weeks, and Jania Vaughn. So we have a good group. We have a good group of girls, and all of them are really fighting for time. And we could possibly be 10 to 12 deep in our regular rotation. So we're excited.
Coach, listen to that roster. It just sounds like you're going to have a really good mix of young, hungry players that want their opportunity with, experienced leaders as well. What's that like as a coach to have a good mix of that? You don't have too much of youth, but you also don't have an overswelling of just alphas, seniors that all want to play, and you can't really find, ways to get them on the court.
Right. And we've had that before, but I like the mix that we have. It keeps everybody competing, and that's something else we're focusing on. We want them to compete every day, push each other more, not just because they're friends, they take it easy on each other, but having a good mix in each class. One, nobody likes to look ahead, but, you always have to have that as a head coach in high school. You got to have, you got to be feeding the program and building the program. And so it's nice to see that we don't have 9 seniors and 1 sophomore and 2 juniors, whatever. We have a good mix throughout, and we have solid players at each level. So,
couple of names that you hear multiple, you have multiple Diorios, of course. That's got to be nice for you as dad/coach. But then that Rotuno name just keeps popping up in Mooney too. What's it like to have like the family legacies? You keep coming back to your program.
It's great, actually. It's and especially those girls. They're girls that you never have to question their effort and their heart and how hard they're going to play. They leave everything out on the court, and they go 100% in everything they do. And I wish I had 15 girls that did that. But having the girls like that you can count on and that are going to play as hard as they can for you. I'll take any day. I'll take girls like that all day long.
Gives new definition to the Mooney family, right? When you're literally having family on the court. Coach, let's talk about your schedule. Obviously, we'll start with that Steel Valley Conference. It's small, but it's really good, really competitive. What do you see out of it this year? How do you think it's going to shake out?
It's going to be competitive. Ursuline's always tough. That's, who we look at first usually. They're always tough. I know they graduated a couple good players, but I know they have, they got a couple players that came in from, I think, a transfer, and they have a nice freshman that came in. And then their returning players are solid. So they're going to, it's always a battle when we play them. East, you saw last year, our 2 games with East were, they were wars. They were like almost boxing matches. They were tough, competitive games. And I don't expect anything less from them. I know they lost a really good player, but she does a great job over there and getting those girls to play as hard as they can for her. And then Cheney's got some, I know they have a nice incoming freshman class, a couple girls that I know of that are really solid athletes. And, they might shock a few teams this year. They're going to be much improved, I think. So I think overall our conference is, like you said, it's small, but I think we're going to compete and we'll fight with anybody in the at a conference.
Because the conference is small, you have a lot of opportunities to go and test yourself outside of it. And we know Moody never fails to put up a really, really good schedule. Who are some teams that pop up outside of that Steel Valley Conference that you're excited to go and test yourself against?
It's a double-edged sword, right? We get a lot of chances to play out of the conference, but when you look at some of the teams that we're playing, is that a good thing or bad thing? No, I enjoy it. I actually asked for these types of games. I said I'd rather play, teams that we're going to learn from and be pushed than to, run scores up on. So we don't have many teams we're going to be able to run the score up on. So, right off the bat, our first focus is our first game of the year. We open up with West Branch, who, is there a better program in the state than them? I don't know. But they're one of the best in the state year in and year out. They started off a little slow last year because of some injuries and some other stuff. But, by the end of the year, they were a team you didn't really want to play. And they're big. They got, I think, 3 at least 6'2" girls. One's a point guard. Tough matchup. But we start out with them, and then we start out our home opener the Monday after against Salem. So, right off the bat, we're thrown to the fire, and we're going to get tested. We'll know where we're at after that. And then, after that, we've got a lot of quality games. We play JFK, who I know has got a nice incoming freshman class, and they got a couple transfers over last year and this year. Warren Harding always does a great job. They always play tough. Canton Central Catholic had a real nice young team last year. A lot of freshmen and sophomores starting for them. We play Massillon, Washington, and Springfield over at the Holiday Classic out at South Range. And then once we get into January, we've got, the Southeast is always a good team. But then we've got Boardman, we've got Canfield, we've got Poland. You name the teams, we play them. We go out of town and play a team from Cincinnati, Hamilton Baden, a private school, and a all private Catholic showcase down in Columbus in January. They were 22-4, I think, last year. So not a lot of. We play Walsh Jesuit at the end of the year. So a lot of great teams that will be tested and will be prepared for the playoffs.
Like I said, Mooney never shies away. There's your proof right there. I mean, you look at those teams and the pedigree of all of them. It's just ridiculously good. Coach, let's talk about your coaching staff, the people that are helping you do it. We always want to give the coaches their time to highlight the people that are behind them. So why don't you take the time and tell us who your staff is and who the people helping you are?
Yeah, so I've got I try to bring in people smarter than me. It's not hard to do, but somebody that is going to bring more than I can bring to the table that's been around the game. So first off, I have Kathy Patron. She's been anybody that goes to basketball games, you've probably seen her and know her. She knows everybody in the basketball world. Everybody knows her. She's been around the game for years. I don't want to say how many years, but longer than I've probably been born. And then we brought in her daughter, Lori Lucas. So she is a player, ex-player of Mooney. She was one of the greats. Her name's littered through our record books with some of the different stats, steals and shooting and stuff. She was in our program in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so I have those two helping me. We, as the three of us are, hopefully going to lead these girls and teach them and have some fun with them.
That's always what we want, Coach. One of the things that we were asking all of our coaches this year, it's kind of a theme of I guess you could say the season previews, is about the love of the game, right? You love it because you coach it. We love it because we broadcast it all the time, and your players obviously love it because they're putting in the time to play it. When did the love of the game of basketball pop up for you? When was your first kind of memories of seeing yourself fall in love with the sport?
Tough question. I would say, growing up playing, I don't know, it doesn't seem like kids do it as much nowadays, but growing up with, some of my friends, we were outside anytime the sun was out. Even when the sun wasn't out, we were outside playing hoops and, every Saturday morning, and we'd play until dark, until the neighbors would come out and tell us it was enough. We've been playing too long. We're keeping them up at night. We had some battles in the driveways and stuff like that. And then that was when we were young, and that carried on through middle school and high school. And then, just always been a fan of it, watching the March Madness every year in college basketball. Not so much of an NBA professional, but I'm more of a high school, college fan.
Be still my beating heart. It's pure basketball. When you get in the NBA, in my opinion, just waters down the sport. I don't like watching it.
I agree.
Coach, we'll flip that to you, but what about the love of coaching? When did you start to really know that this was something you were going to stick with and this is something that you could do year in and year out?
So I'll tell you what, I never thought I was going to go into coaching. I'll be honest with you. When I got married and we had our first child and we started getting her into sports, and I started going to, some of the games and practices. And I remember the turning point of me of when I started coaching was I went to a practice, and, they were little. I was probably a little too intense at the time, but I was at a practice and it was a soccer practice, and the coach, and they had already had a game. I just hadn't been able to get to a practice. The coach had already, or the team had already had a game, and they weren't real good. They got beat like 10-0 or something. And so I'm at the practice and I'm watching. I got off work early for some reason. I met my wife there and we're talking. And as we're talking, I noticed the kids are just running around. And they weren't even using like a soccer ball. They were just running around playing tag or something, which I get it. I guess if you do that once in a while to have some fun. But so I started saying, where's the, like, what are they doing here? Where's the soccer balls? What are they playing? And they said, oh, this is what they do at practice. And I don't know. To me, I just was like flabbergasted. I just couldn't believe it. So, then I went to the next game and I said the same thing. And I said, well, this is why we're getting beat, 10, 12, nothing every game. And, some of the parents were not happy with it. And one of the parents of the other team members heard me talking, probably not a great thing. I probably should be a little quieter, but he said, why don't you coach? You sound like you know a lot about it. And I not that I knew a lot about soccer, but from that point on, I thought I started coaching soccer the next year, and I kind of fell in love with helping kids and coaching them. And then I started doing some of the youth stuff at a Holy Family where my kids went to school, started coaching, got into the basketball, and I really loved basketball. I was not really a soccer fan. I have 4 girls, so football wasn't really an option. I did try it, but my wife wasn't real thrilled with the hours that I was putting in there. So I got into basketball, and, here I am probably 15 or so years later and still love it.
Here you are, Coach. We love it. We enjoy having you on. We do. We love covering you. We wish you the best of luck this year. We'll be out there at games, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Hey, I appreciate the coverage. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, Coach DiOrio from Cardinal Mooney joining us on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to play an interview for you guys from East Palestine, Will Franklin. That's coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Back in a bit.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Anthony Hartwig here with an East Palestine Girls Basketball Coaches Corner with Will Franklin, the glorious return as he comes back for another season. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and talking about the basketball team.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We got it. Let's start off with just a little bit of, update on how practices are going. I know you've had your players for a little bit now, and you've been able to get a couple practices under your belt. So what have the girls been looking like, and how have practices been going for you?
Practice been going pretty well so far. It seems like this season starts a lot sooner than usual. It just seems like there's a lot to get done real fast. So, we're progressing every day, getting better on the little things, trying to get us ready for our opener November 30th. We had a scrimmage last Saturday at South Range with Louisville. We have another scrimmage this Saturday, another chance to get better against Edison at home. So, we're just trying to put everything together and get the girls ready to go for that opener on November 30th.
Yeah, November 30th is fastly approaching. What are some things on your checklist that you want to see the girls and yourself kind of accomplish before game one?
I think just before game one is getting comfortable with just playing basketball, getting out of, not so much worrying about, hey, what's the offensive set? What am I supposed to do? Just being able to play more fluid off the ball, just more natural instead of kind of like we talk in practice, don't be robots, just play off the ball, take what the defense gives you and just react to what's going on instead of, hey, on this play, I got to go here, here, and here, and just be more fluid with the game.
Let's talk about your roster and have a little meet the team segment and talk about the players that you're going to have on your floor this year.
Right now, we got 14 girls on the roster. I think 5 or 6 of them are seniors. I have 1 sophomore, and the rest are all freshmen. So kind of a unique makeup of a roster. We do return a lot of kids that have a lot of experience that started as sophomores. So we are bringing back a lot of girls that have had a lot of court time. Some of those kids, the seniors, are going to mention. We have Gabby Andre. She's ran a guard or a point for us since she's been a sophomore. A lot of experience there in shooting with us. Leila Martin, she's our other senior. She's our primary point guard. She's going to handle the ball most of the time and kind of get us kickstarted on offense. And then we return two post players in Jasmine Lute and Mara Zimmerman. Like I said, 2 more kids who've had a lot of minutes starting as sophomores. After that, a newcomer, a couple seniors. We have Sierra Lee. She played last year for us. This will be her second year playing basketball, another post player. And we have a Ford Exchange student, Livia. Basketball is new to her, so, we're going to try to get her in the mix a little bit here and there so she has a good experience with us. Sophomore, Nevaeh Merriman, new player to us. And then we go to all freshmen. Most of them played in 8th grade, a couple new faces. So some of the ones you'll see off the bat that are going to end up getting some varsity time based on our numbers. Olivia Magnus, she's going to get in the mix, another guard for us. Emma Ginger, guard, maybe he'll post a little bit. We'll see where we can fit her in. Marley Blythe, another freshman. She's going to see a lot of varsity time. And then we have Kennedy Andre. She'll tag up with her sister, Gabby. She's going to get some court time for us. Another sister, Madeline Zimmerman. She's going to see the floor. And then we have Sydney Uriachi, another freshman who's going to be another guard for us. So compared to last year, last year we had 7, 8 girls. Now we have 14. So we'll be able to play a full JV schedule and playing just instead of playing 2 quarters and having my varsity kids having to play a lot of those minutes as well down at JV. So now we can split off and have more of a, varsity and a JV program this year.
Sounds like you have plenty of returners that can bring some leadership to this team. What kind of a blessing is that to have so much experience on the floor and so many leaders out there?
It's a great thing for us. Like I said, these seniors, if you would talk to them individually, they probably can't believe that it's already their senior year and it goes by fast. We try to tell kids that, but they don't realize it until it actually happens. So my senior group, they've went through a lot. When they were freshmen, that was their COVID season. So they got to see us, have a great season that year. And then, the year after that was a little bit of a struggle. We had a lot of injuries to some key players. So those sophomores, they were sophomores at that point. They were thrown into starting lineup real quick and, they didn't really have a choice. So they've went through, a lot of ups and downs. They've been battle tested. Last year was a good year for them as their junior season campaign. So, I'm expecting big things out of them. And like you talked about, you can't replace experience. You can't replace leadership that easily. So they're going to have to do a good job of making sure, they can handle the ups and downs this season. And I strongly believe those seniors are going to be able to do that because they've been through different ups and downs throughout their careers here in basketball. So, yeah, we will lean on them to help out the younger kids. Like I said, our roster is mostly, we're split. We're a lot of seniors. Like I said, we have 1 sophomore who's brand new this year, and then we have all freshmen. So we're going to lean on those seniors, set a good example on and off the floor for our kids.
Let's talk about the schedule. We'll start with the conference and the EOAC. Obviously, always a very tough conference to play in. What do you expect out of it this year, and what do you think it's going to look like?
Once again, like you said, it's going to be competitive top to bottom. Any night's not a given for anybody. I would say right now, without knowing other people's rosters, just going off of who's returning where, I would say, between United, Southern, and Columbiana, those are the three top right now. I also believe Wellsville is going to be very strong this year because they're kind of the same boat we are. They started a lot of their kids as freshmen, and now they're, the juniors and seniors. So I think Wellsville is going to be, a team that people are going to have to, battle. And we've battled with them the last couple of years in some tight games. So I wouldn't be surprised if Wellsville gets in the mix up there as well. Lisbon's always a tough game for us. We usually, have good games with them. They come down the last couple of possessions, which is, pretty exciting as a fresh or in a varsity level. And, Latonia and I think Valley, rounding out, I'm not sure about their rosters right now. So once again, I think everyone's chasing United, Columbiana, and Southern right now. As long as Schroed's there, Southern's going to be tough.
You look at that, and the conference is hard enough, but you also have to test yourself outside of the conference. Who are some teams outside of the EUAC that you're really excited to play this year? We got a little bit of mix of everybody in our out of conference. We have East Liverpool. That's always a bigger school, big game for us. I think we might play there this year, so it's always an experience playing down there in their field house, playing on that big floor. So it's always a good experience. And toward the end of our year for tournament time, so to get us ready for our first round matchup. An old EOAC team that we scheduled up this year was Toronto. Haven't played them for a while, so we got them on a schedule twice. Picked up Campbell again. I expect them to be a pretty solid program as well. And we picked up Cheney twice. We played them once last year, and it was a pretty scrappy game. So it's one of those teams that I think they're going to give us all we can handle, and it'll be a good test for us early on. All right, Coach, one of the things that we also want to do for you is give you the time to highlight your coaching staff and the people that are helping you make this program what you want it to be from top to bottom.
Yeah, definitely want to, appreciate my staff. They do a ton that doesn't get noticed. First off, I have Jill Baird. She's my assistant and our JV coach. She's been with me, I think, about 8 or 9 years at this point. She does a great job with the younger kids and developing them into, the players I need at the varsity level. And she's a good one for them to go to for questions and skill work as well. And then my two other assistants I have this year, Coach Fristic, she's a player for me a couple years ago. I always rely on her because she knows what it takes to win and be a champ. And, she can share some of those experiences with our players, and she knows the game very well. So she's great to have on staff. She knows my expectations as being a former player. And also have Coach Rutledge this year. She's bouncing back between middle school and with me high school. Once again, one of my former players. I think she played for me for, I think, two or 3 years. So she's got to see how the program has changed, and how, my coaching staff and myself have changed since, our first couple of years. So she's also a great asset to have with us. She's great with the kids. Kids really look up to her. So she's a good one to have as well. And then still at my middle school, I have Coach McKinstry, who, like I said, he does an amazing job teaching those kids the fundamentals and basics. And his teams, they always get better as the year goes on. So, I like to make sure, my coaching staff does get, the recognition they deserve, because they do a great job making my life easier. And that's all I can ask for.
You talk about the way you've changed since you took the job. What kind of ways can you really see yourself be different as a coach and as a person since the start?
I think as all, young coaches, when you first get that varsity job, you worry about every single little thing. And then as you get more mature and you've been around the game longer, you kind of filter out what are the things I need to focus on. And, the player coach relationships have changed. For me, it's been, I don't know, I think it's easier to relate to the kids now. I feel like as long as you can get that connection, it doesn't have to be about basketball. Get some off the court connections and get to know them as people. That's always good in the coaching realm. But for me, how I've changed is, I have a lot more knowledge now than I did 13 years ago when I first took over this program. You learn from experiences, you learn what works, what doesn't work. You can't, be set in your ways, because you have to adapt to what your team needs. And so I just think for me personally is being more experienced as a coach and learning each year, and still learning as I am now.
One of the things we're asking all the coaches we interview this year as part of our season previews is just about the love of the game. You obviously love it for putting so much time into it. We love it because we broadcast it. The players obviously love it as well. For you personally, when did your kind of love story with basketball start? When are some of your first times you kind of fell in love with the sport?
I've been coaching basketball at some point, I want to say for probably around 18, 19 years. I first started I was coaching like little league basketball, and parents wanted me to coach like their YMCA team, a handful of weekends. So I started there, and then I started with, different youth programs. I started out at Springfield, their middle school when I was working out there. And then I kind of just stuck with that. I was bouncing between, that's when I used to coach. I'd coach varsity football. Then I'd go to girls basketball. Then I jump into track. And then I got hired here at Palestine, and I was coaching varsity football as the OC with Coach Foster. And then I took over the varsity job here at basketball my second year here as a teacher. So it's one of those things I've always enjoyed coaching. It doesn't matter what it is. Football, basketball are my two favorite. Now with my children, they like baseball too. So now I coach baseball for those guys on the side, but I don't know if it's just like a love of basketball so much. I think it's just a love of coaching and being around the kids and trying to make them better every day, not just as athletes, but as humans as well.
That was Coach Franklin from East Palestine. We thank him for his time. And now we pop into another live guest. It is from Champion High School, the boys basketball coach. Coach Denman joins us. Coach, how are we doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing really good, Coach. Really ready for basketball, as I know you are too. You've had your guys for a little bit now. First question for you is, what are some things that you're seeing that you're really liking out of your squad so far this year?
I'm loving how hard we're working so far, man. We've been going at it, like you said, now about 3 weeks, and we've had maximum effort every day. We've been in the gym, and it's been great to see, and it really kind of gives me some really positive outlook for what's to come.
I was at your senior night last year, and I think you might have had the most seniors of any team we've covered at YSN. I mean, the senior night went so long because you guys had so many good leaders and great seniors that went on and are doing great things now. A lot of them playing college sport, whether it be baseball, football, or basketball. What's it mean to you to, see the ripple effects of those seniors and to see new guys stepping up now based on what they taught what last year's leaders taught them last season?
It's been really exciting. I mean, that, like you said, that group of seniors a year ago, I think there was 8 or 9 of them. So it was awesome. And I got to grow right along those kids. I coached those kids since they were in 8th grade. And to see how, for them to know the style of practice I like to have and the style I like to coach at, for them to pass it along, it's been great. Our senior leaders this year are taking it right in stride. And I don't even really feel like we've had a real knockoff in leadership. We've just had new guys step up and continue on. And it's been really great to see.
I imagine a lot of new faces that we have to get to know on the varsity floor. So I'm going to have you have a meet the team night and kind of show us who the teams are and who the roster's on, who's on the roster, who we should look out for when we head out to Champion this year.
Yeah, we're actually going to have 2 sophomores that are going to play quite a bit of varsity time, and Marky Nolan and Braylon Bram. And then I've got 2 returning somewhat varsity players in my juniors, and Christian Williams and Kelly Gray. And then my returning letter winners from a year ago, Jake Andrietta. And then I've actually got 2 other seniors that are coming off of serious injury from a year ago, Ian Orwig and Andrew Skebe, that are coming back too. So it'll be an exciting group for sure, and we're excited to get everyone healthy and everyone playing together.
That's definitely exciting, Coach. Your league is exciting. We just talked to Coach Oleski about a half an hour ago. He talked about how good this MVAC is. You know it just as well as he does. Talk about this conference, what it's like playing in it, and what you expect out of it this year.
The one thing about our conference is every night's a battle. It doesn't matter where you're at, or if we're at Champion or we're on the road, you're going to get a fight. Everybody is tough. Everybody's well coached. Everybody has skill. Everybody has talent. And there's no easy games when you look at the schedule when you're playing in the MVAC. Everything is going to be, you're going to tough out wins. I don't think anyone's really going to blow people out. I think we're all going to be competing and fighting against each other. And it's probably going to be one of the more competitive, if not the most competitive leagues probably in our valley here.
Coach, when you talk about going outside of that MVAC, it's already tough enough playing inside the MVAC, but you go out of it and test yourself. Who are some teams that pop up outside of the conference that you're really excited about?
So we always play Bristol right around Christmas time, which is outside, and that's always a fun game. You always get a lot of people in the gym around the holidays, and what Craig does over at Bristol is an amazing program, and so it's always fun and an exciting game there. And then we also travel up to PV this year, and what they're doing up there is pretty amazing with the kids they have and the skill and the talent, and that'll be a really tough game too.
I believe that's who you actually had in senior night last night, if I recall, doing your senior night against Pymatuning Valley. So good to see you go up there as well. That's a tough team, like you said. Coach, you have a couple of weeks before the season starts. What's on your coach's checklist of things you want to see happen in scrimmages and practices before game one?
The real big thing we've checked off a lot of the boxes. We've got the offense installed. We've got our defense installed how we want. Now we're just trying to get all those things fine-tuned and really try to hone in on our mental toughness. The style of basketball we're hoping to play, our kids have got to be mentally tough. And they all have the ability to do it. We're just still growing a little bit in that department and trying to get, all 10, 12, really even 23 guys that are in the gym to get a level of mental toughness that we need to succeed.
Have you been able to key in on things that you think, okay, this team is going to be really good at X, Y, Z, and things that you can say might be strengths of your team this year?
In our opening scrimmages, I've been really impressed with the speed of our guys and their level of conditioning, how quick we're able to get the ball up the floor and get into our offense and get moving. And for being somewhat undersized, they've rebounded really well. All 5 guys are attacking the glass, and I've been really pleased to see that.
Coach, I know you've also put together a really good staff. Would we be remiss if we did not ask you to highlight them in this interview? I want you to take the time to talk about the people you're working with and the people that are helping you make this champion program what it is.
Yeah, I'll start at the top. Even with our booster president, Ken Haney, he does a phenomenal job of making my life easier and making sure that these kids they get gear every year, and the stuff that the boosters provide is amazing. And my athletic director is a phenomenal guy too, Tim Cope. I'll give him a huge shout out. He's right there with any questions. He's always got everything in line, under control. It's really a great environment to work in. And then my staff, my actual basketball staff, is brand new this year. I've got my JV coach, Michael Thompson. He's a veteran coach, and he brings quite a lot of experience. And then I've got my freshman coach is Jim Smith. He's a local champion guy, and he's been able to have ties with a lot of these kids for many years, which has been a great thing to see. And then my varsity assistant is Coach Robbins, and he's a baseball coach at Champion as well, so he already has a background with the kids, and his insight into the game has been great too. So we're really excited. We've got a great group from the top all the way down.
Brand new staff. What's that been like this year to just kind of work with new people, get to know some new people, and even further expand your basketball knowledge, getting it from different minds?
It was a little bit of a challenge at first because I had kept the same staff my first 2 years coaching together, and one of those coaches I've played basketball with my entire life, so being able to bounce things off him was really easy. But this new staff, kind of learning how to communicate and learning how what their strengths and weaknesses are and how they can help contribute to the overall program. It's been really exciting to see. And like every player has their own role, each one of our coaches has their own specialty and their own role, and being able to embrace that's been really awesome so far.
Coach, one of the things that we're asking all of our coaches this year in our season previews, that's kind of the theme of it, is just about the love of the sport of basketball. We love it. We broadcast it. You love it because you're on the coaching bench, and obviously your players are putting the time into the sport because they love it. When did your love of basketball start? When do you kind of see yourself falling in love with the sport?
Well, I mean, I think it probably started out the same time it does for most of us. When you're a young kid and you're first given that little size basketball, the one that's just about as big as your hand, and just the thrill of you make your first shot, you hear the net sound, you see the ball go through the hoop, and then you get in elementary school and you get to do some camps and stuff like that, when we all would scream and jump around because we got to scrimmage at the end of it, and just little things like that just were the basic foundation of where I fell in love with the game. And then, as I've aged, my playing days behind me now, seeing these kids fall in love with the game and enjoy themselves and watch them grow, not only in the game, but as men, has just strengthened the love I have for the game even more. The true power in basketball, with these kids stretches far beyond just the gym floor.
You're right, Coach. I don't think anything would took as seriously as a little kid in the basement or in the living room with the Fisher Price hoop and the little
There
kid
you
size
go.
ball. Those games went hard. Coach, we want to wish you the best of luck this year. We're rooting for champion. We can't wait to get out there and cover you guys. Give the community a little bit of a preview. When's your first game?
So we open up on December 2nd. That's our opener. We play Niles that night. It should be a really tough contest. They've got a new coach down there, I believe, and it'll be exciting to see kind of where we stack up.
You heard, Coach. Get out there on December 2nd. Support your Flashes. And we can't wait to be out there with you guys, covering you guys all season. Wish you the best of luck, Coach, and we can't wait to talk to you real soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate all you all do for these kids.
You got it. We'll see you soon, Coach.
Take care.
Coach Denman from Champion joining us, and that's actually how we're going to end the show. There's no better way to roll off than a great coach's interview. We thank him for his time. We thank everyone for watching today. Tomorrow, it is definitely playoff preview day, as we're going to be talking all about the regional finals. We have Ursuline, Struthers, South Range, and Hoban all playing in regional finals. Won't forget about Mohawk. They're playing in the playoffs as well. They're about a week behind, so they're not quite yet into that stage. But we won't forget about Mohawk either, who won a close one last week, 17-12. So we won't forget about them. 5 teams left in football for YSN. Going to have a fun time talking about it tomorrow. We also do have one coach coming on live tomorrow to talk more hoops, and it is going to be a basketball coach from Southern Local, their girls basketball coach. And that is, of course, Michael Skinjar from Southern Local. Going to come on and talk about the Indians, and I'm sure we're going to say Ashley Schroeder's name a couple of times because she's going to be lighting up the world down there in Salineville. We'll see you tomorrow from